The UK is going ahead with banning under 16s from accessing social media in the UK. Apps like Facebook, X, and Instagram are included in the list of websites that they won't be able to access, but they haven't included an app called Blue Sky. Why? Well, it could be because Blue Sky is a hotbed, and I mean a hotbed of they-them leftyism. Seriously, if you fancy a laugh, go and take a look. It is, like I say, it's a hotbed of sort of libtard fuckery, which begs the question, if the government was truly doing all of this to protect children, why wouldn't they ban left-leaning social media too and put a complete ban on everything? And also, while we're at it, why aren't they stopping the rape gangs? They said they want to protect children, but they're doing nothing about that, are they? Just saying. This is the Richard Donaldson Show. Let's jump in. What if I told you that this was all about control? What if I told you that everything is about control? What if I told you that what we are seeing today in the UK is largely down to the fact that a small shadow-dwelling society has been pulling the strings from behind the curtains for nearly 2 centuries? What if I told you that our media, our institutions, and even our governments have been infiltrated by this group of people to slowly but surely gain more and more control over us, the British people? This isn't conspiracy theory. This is fact. And you can go and see all of this for yourself with basic Google searches after this episode. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button and share this with your mates who I am sure are as fed up as we all are and just want to hear the truth. Today, we're going deep on something that's been influencing British politics, the establishment, and pretty much every single industry for way too long. A group of people that have been operating in the shadows and quietly shaping the left, the Labour Party, and the direction of this country for over 140 years, because the same question keeps coming up again and again, doesn't it? Are we being run by serious people, or are we being run by ideologues who have been playing the long game to push their vision of socialism, whether ordinary Brits want it or not? This is the Fabian Society. So let's start at the very beginning and take our time with this. Back in 1884 in London, a group of middle-class intellectuals got together and formed the Fabian Society. Key figures were Sidney Webb, his wife, Beatrice Webb, the playwright George Bernard Shaw, and a handful of others just like them. Their mission was to bring socialism to Britain, but not through, revolution, not through, smashing things up or being violent like them. It wasn't a Marxist thing where, they wanted chaos and guillotines. Their real trick, their genius, depending on how you look at it, was patience. It was taking their time. The name itself, the Fabian Society, comes from Quintus Fabius Maximus, the Roman general who fought Hannibal, not with big head-on battles, but with delay, attrition and gradual strategy, Fabian tactics, winning by wearing the enemy down slowly over time. That's exactly what they embraced from day one. They would wait, they would chip away, they would never stop. They weren't some flash-in-the-pan radical movement that, it's up, it kind of burns bright and then it disappears. They were like termites, just quietly eating away at the foundations of everything until the whole house belonged to them. Now, these weren't working class men from the factories or the pits or the shipyards. These were educated, comfortable types who were absolutely convinced that they knew better than ordinary people and how society should be run. So they set about their plan. Permeation. Worm their way into existing institutions rather than try to build their own mass party from scratch. They joined the Liberal Party. They infiltrated trade unions. They wrote pamphlets and books designed to educate the next generation of civil servants and influencers. Their 1889 pamphlet, Fabian Essays in Socialism, became a bestseller. They even went as far as creating the London School of Economics in 1895, which is literally a Fabian creation from the ground up, designed to train generations of administrators and economists in the gradualist socialism. They helped found the Labour Party in 1900, and they wrote parts of its constitution. They influenced prime ministers. Ramsay MacDonald, the first Labour prime minister, he was a Fabian. Clement Attlee was a Fabian. Tony Blair was actually chairman of the Fabian Society before he became prime minister. And Keir Starmer himself is a long-standing Fabian with more than half his cabinet linked to them. They're all part of it as well. They're not some fringe group, sitting in the corner. It's not, one or two here or there. They play the long game like nothing you've ever seen. Decade after decade, one small reform here, one nationalisation there, one quiet expansion over the state over there, until bit by bit the state controls more and more of your life, your money, and your decisions. And here's the thing that really winds me up. They present it all as caring, as progressive, as helping the working man, but look at the results over all these years. Massive bureaucracy that strangles everything, crippling taxes, growing welfare, dependency that traps people, open borders, policies that are picking apart our communities and institutions that have been completely captured by ideology. This is the gradualism in action, the inevitability of gradualism. They called it slowly but surely turning Britain into their vision of a socialist state. When was the last time you felt like the government was truly on the side of ordinary people, on the side of you or I? Not the elites in their think tanks, not the career politicians, not the media, not commentators, but us. The bloke trying to pay the bills, keep the family safe, get on in life without the state breathing down his neck every 5 minutes. The Fabians and their ideas have been permeating everything for so long now that people just think big government is normal. It's not. It's a deliberate choice. It's their choice, and we've been living with the consequences for generations. But let's go deeper into how they actually operate, because I want to talk about this permeation strategy properly and break it down. They didn't try to create a massive revolutionary movement that everyone would see coming. They infiltrated quietly. Sidney Webb basically helped write the Labour Constitution. They pushed for the welfare state, nationalism, the NHS. Some of it with good intentions, I'm sure, maybe on the surface, but always with more state control at the centre of everything. Their big moment came in 1945 with Clement Attlee's Labour government. They rolled out the NHS, nationalised major industries, expanded welfare, and reshaped Britain after the war. The Fabians saw it; they saw it as their triumph, and in many ways, it was. But here's the catch: it wasn't revolution through, they didn't go storming through the front door. It was bureaucracy through the back door. More control, more state, more centralisation. And once those structures are locked in, they rarely get rolled back, no matter how much, they fail or cost. Fast forward to the 1990s, Tony Blair modernised Labour with his so-called third way, but the skeleton underneath was still pure Fabian. It was pragmatic, managerial, obsessed with long-term nudges, looking to nudge squads If you look into nudge squads or nudge teams that work for the government, go and Google it, look into them. Rather than have an open, honest debate with the public, his government was packed with them. Today, Keir Starmer is cut from the exact same cloth, polished, technocratic, loyally recycling the same 140-year blueprint. And when you hear him reading bland sound bites about, long-term missions, you're not hearing fresh, original ideas from him and his cabinet. You're hearing, it's Fabian gradualism polished up for 2026. This is why we see what we see all around us right now: two-tier policing, institutional capture, policies that seem completely detached from what ordinary people on the street actually want. It's why when we turn on the news, or let me say it another way, it's why every single time, they announce a new policy or they make a new decision, we all kind of recoil and we say, what are they doing? They're doing the exact opposite from what we want. Well, that's what it is. We want strong borders, proper law and order, personal responsibility. But that's not the priority for them. The priority is the big vision: more state intervention, more, equality, more control over everything. Equality should be, if you apply for a job, if you're good enough, you get it. If you're not, you don't. But they don't do that. What they do is they control who goes where, when, and why. More central control over everything. And this top-down, elite-driven approach treats ordinary people like we're too thick to run our own lives. They treat us like children. And again, going back to this new Online Safety Act, they're treating us like children. They may be putting the ban on our children, but it's us that they're saying, you're not smart enough to parent your own children. They're treating us like the kids. Like we need, so-called experts in London or in these think tanks to organise everything for us. No parent should be allowing the state or wanting the state to do the parenting for them. It's not, they go on about empowerment. That's not empowerment, that's control. That they try to kind of frame as, compassion, safety. But the ordinary man and woman sees the results every single day. Housing shortages being made far worse by mass immigration, NHS queues that stretch for miles. You try and get an appointment now and it's next to impossible sometimes. Taxes are constantly going up while services get more and more strained. We're paying more and we're getting less. Crime and community tensions rising in towns that used to feel safe. And instead of fixing the basics, instead of securing the borders, getting proper policing in place and giving actual value for taxpayer money, we get more of the same gradualist policies that got us into this mess in the first place. They call it democratic socialism, but when the same small group of interconnected people have been influencing both main parties for decades, how democratic is it really? It's the same establishment, just with a different name, just with a different bit of packaging. Permeation means they win either way. The Overton window shifts to the left slowly but surely. Debate gets narrowed and shut down a lot of the time. The public gets worn down with endless report and consultations until any real opposition just fades away. Fabianism is the grandfather of the modern technocratic elite. The idea that unelected intellectuals, planners and experts should quietly steer the ship, quietly steer society without ever really asking permission from the people. They say we live in a democracy. We never get asked what we actually want. I mean, they did during Brexit, didn't they? But it didn't go the way they planned, which is why we never actually got it. It all sounds familiar because it's exactly how the EU operates and how the World Economic Forum talks. Gradual nudges phased in bit by bit until it's too late to object. Look at net zero digital ID, all being sold by the Fabians. And again, this isn't conspiracy nonsense. This is documented. their own words, their own publications. You can go and Google the Fabian Society. They've got a website now. They're kind of hiding in the open. Their emblem is a wolf in sheep's clothing. It says it all. Friendly on the outside, but the real goal is power. It's savage. When people started noticing how sinister it looked, they swapped it for a tortoise with the motto, "When I strike hard." Same message, but again, different packaging. The Fabians aren't hiding in the shadows, I suppose, as I said at the beginning. When you think about it, they're hiding in plain sight. They now publish their reports openly. Their conferences are attended by MPs, journalists, corporate lobbyists. They're banking on the fact that you're too busy working, paying bills and trying to live life to even notice what's actually happening. And that's their biggest trick that most people have never even... Their biggest trick is that most people have never even heard of them. And that's exactly how they like it. Quiet, polite, academic, but massively influential behind the scenes. And the cost has been democracy itself getting diluted over time. The Fabian method is elitist to its core. It assumes the public are too thick to understand big ideas, and so change must be sneaked past them rather than debated openly and honestly. That's why Labour and the Tories often end up looking like two wings of the same bird, and I believe Reform UK are now part of it as well. The civil service, the universities and the think tanks have all been permeated for over a century. The consequences are all around us every single day. A country where the state grows bigger and bigger, personal responsibility gets weaker, and ordinary working people feel like strangers in their own land, frustrated, divided with institutions that don't seem to work for us anymore. But we're not powerless. This is why independent media matters. This is why we have to speak plainly about these things without holding back. No more letting these think tank ideas go unchallenged. We need serious government that puts British people first. Secure borders, law and order, value for taxpayers, real sovereignty, not more Fabian gradualism dragging us further down the same failing road. These ideas have been shaping Britain for too long. It's time ordinary people push back hard, demand better, demand politicians who actually represent us and not the same old networks. Before I go, as a personal favour, if you can head to richarddonaldson.uk and support the independent media that I do from as little as £1, one-off or reoccurring. It's up to you. You can cancel any time. I don't get your card details. It's all secured on a website thing that we've got. It's proper professional. It helps keep this completely independent with no sponsors who would try to tell me what I can and can't say. I simply wouldn't accept it. Thank you so much. Keep sharing. These episodes will keep coming. Please keep commenting, keep engaging. And to the politicians, to the elites, sort your priorities out or step aside because British people are waking up. We're not going away. My name's Richard Donaldson. Thank you for listening right to the end. We got through it. I know it's not the most exciting topic, but people do need to know about this. What do you think about the Fabian influence? Drop it in the comments below. Subscribe, share, all that jazz. And I'll catch you in the next episode. Thank you so much.